Snatch back your brain, zombie. Snatch it back and hold it.
What is going on, YouTube? It's me, Mystery. I'm back. Relaunch, basically. If you've been following my content, you know that I mostly focus on MLM content, anti-MLM content to be specific. And sometimes I sprinkle in a little bit of like personal finance stuff, trying to escape living paycheck to paycheck, which, you know, is what we all do these days. Especially with inflation the way it is and everything else like that. But, you know, I figured even though I've got stuff kind of in line, it's time to jump back into YouTube. Time to go back and really give this another go. But I thought, you know, as much as I love doing anti-MLM content, maybe hour-long videos of me going through numbers can be a little boring. So why don't we diversify the channel a little bit, add some extra stuff in there? And I thought, you know what? I've been watching a lot of people do Reddit reads, and I think that maybe I should jump in and do some Reddit reads. So anyway, that being said, I'm going to start with Am I the A-hole? And some of these are pretty rough or pretty funny, however you want to look at it. But yeah, don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment, and tell me what it is you think of this new setup. Now, I'll still be doing anti-MLM content, but I'm going to expand that to more anti-scams in general. I'm currently researching a scam where people are reaching out to individuals, or actually they're making videos on like TikTok and YouTube, stuff like that, where they are saying that if you just send them money, they can get everything set up for your passport, which if you are an American, you understand that getting your passport can be kind of a hassle. And they're saying they can do it a lot easier. You just send them money and then boom, they give you something to download. You take it to the post office and surprise, you got scammed. Not funny, but at the same time, nothing's ever that easy. But like I said, back to the Reddit reads. And tell me if you like this new background removal thing. I'm trying it out. So anyway. Am I the asshole for not forgiving my sister as she had an affair with my husband, even though I accepted my husband back? Wow. All right. Well, here we are right there. Says, I, 35 female, married my husband, Alex, who's a 35 male, 8 years ago. About 5 years ago, my mom died, and some time after my second child was born. I went into a deep depression due to her death and postpartum. We stayed at my mom's house until about 6 months with my sister, Sally, who's a 28 female. During this time, Alex and Sally helped me a lot and got me out of that dark phase. Now, I'm just going to kind of jump in a little bit right here. Like, I don't have any kids, but I'm not a stranger to having like a loved one die. So yeah, that can kind of be rough. And if you're not careful, especially if everything around you starts to suck too, you can easily fall into something. Add some postpartum on that, gets a lot messier. Things eventually got better and we came back to our home. About 2 years ago, we had our anniversary in which we decided to celebrate at home, which, hey, cool, fine. Sally came too. However, towards the end of the party, I saw Alex, Sally arguing, and then she abruptly left. When I asked him, he broke down and told me that he had an affair with Sally. Ooh, not a good look. Basically, when I was in depression, he was so lonely and didn't know how to make things better. I became like a shell of a person and he felt helpless seeing me like that. Then Sally came and comforted him. They would share their feelings to each other and become each other's emotional support. This led to an emotional affair that turned physical after Sally kissed him. However, after Sally asked him to divorce me, he realized that the mistake and freaked out and just ghosted her. Well, it's probably not a good look, but after the party, Sally was angry for not leaving me and accused him of using her and throwing her away. He had a breakdown and kept on apologizing. I asked him to leave and that we would get a divorce. He left eventually and we were separated for quite some time. I confronted Sally and she started crying as well and wanted to explain, but I just cut the call and went no contact. Sometimes that's kind of what you got to do, right? Like if something's so heinous, you got to just cut it and get rid of it. However, during this time, my kids would cry for their dad and my oldest would constantly ask for him. Also, since I'm working, it's almost impossible for me to take care of them alone at the same time. Also, divorce seemed a bad idea financially. They make it so tough for a divorce. Now, not saying you should just be able to get a divorce, however. I mean, I think that's a personal decision between couples, but it is quite expensive to get a divorce, especially in the States. Most importantly, Alex is a great dad, and I could not see my kids in pain, so I decided to not get divorced. In reality, I have not forgiven him and would leave after the kids are grown up or if kids feel unhappy. For now, we are working effectively as parents, and kids are back to being normal and happy. A few days ago, Sally asked to meet through a mutual friend. Upon meeting me, she said she was sorry and that she was getting married. She asked me to forget the past and be a family again. She even asked me to be the bridesmaid. Hmm. I honestly laughed in her face and left. Now she's saying I'm being cruel since I accepted my husband, but I'm punishing her. That I am her only family and that I should leave things in the past. I honestly don't want to do anything with her because of how greatly she hurt me. I adored her growing up and she did that to me, but I don't know anymore. So am I the a-hole? Oh, that's a tough one, right? Because, like, you separated away from your husband, which I get it, you know. If your husband can't handle, okay, context. My wife and I have been together for a long time. We just recently got married, but we had been a couple for at least 7 years before this happened. But COVID happened, obviously, tested everybody. I lost my job. She lost her job. We were living on savings. And that's a test right there. If anybody's ever been in a tight spot like that knows that can test you. And it's all about how you react and how you go into it. He immediately went to his sister-in-law for comfort. Now, I know that wasn't the intention, but still, that's where it went, which is not okay. She agreed to take him back. I can't say I would do that, honestly. I mean, staying together for the kids is not a good, like, it's not good. Staying together for the kids only breeds resentment and can also just cause things to be horrible for the parents. They'll see you fight, they'll see you hate, the kids will know that you don't love each other. So that could be a whole big mess. But anyway, are you the asshole for not taking your sister or not being a bridesmaid for your sister? Well, if you're willing to take him back, you should be willing to forgive her as well. Now, I understand that that hurt is different because, well, no, not really. I guess if you think about it, they both did the fucked up thing, right? Um, I'm going to say, yeah. Yeah, you're still the a-hole. Now, I say that because you brought Homeboy back, but you left the sister-in-law in the dust. Equally heinous crimes, and here we are. So, yeah. But let's see what the comments say. Looks like the comments are kind of in the same area we are. Wait, they had an affair for 3 whole years? Woman, I don't understand how you could keep him around. Think about the example you're setting for your kids, because even if they don't know yet, one day they will. Don't let them think forgiving an affair is unacceptable, ever. I don't know. That's a tough one, right? That's a tough one because somebody can really be forgiving, right? You could easily be in a place where it's like, you know what? No, we'll let it chill. Yeah, you were unfaithful. We'll try it again. It is. So if you're willing to go that far, I don't necessarily know, though I can understand, like, to me, if they cheat, it's over, no exceptions, Letterkenny rules. So I can kind of feel this one. Yeah, it's not really acceptable. Yeah. This one says, not the a-hole, but I still think you should have divorced your husband. You could have been co-parents in separate houses. That way, the kids could still see their dad. That's a very good point. Good dad doesn't translate to good husband. Anyway, to each their own. You don't owe your sister anything, but to change one thing you said that she did, that you at the end, is inaccurate. They both did that to you. Your husband is just as responsible as your sister. I agree 100% with that. I agree. Also, it looks like there's an edit here. It says, edit, I added this in a comment below, but I'm afraid it will get lost in the thread, so I'll repost it here. That's pretty good. Honestly, my parents divorced when I was 10 years old due to infidelity on my dad's part. And while they were tough times for my mom, brother, and I can confirm that all of us were so much happier that there wasn't tension in the household. of pretending to like each other in front of us, and forced conversation to make our home life seem normal. See, I agree with that. Like I said earlier, it's you don't stay together just for the kids. That doesn't help anybody. That just ultimately ruins. Like I had friends growing up who husband and like dad and mom were very clearly not okay with each other, but they thought, we're just going to continue to roll with it. And they stayed together for the kids. Like I even had a friend tell me we're sticking together just until the kids are in college. And he hated his wife. And it's just it's rough to hear. So, but let's see what other people have to say here. Agreed, stay together for the kids is rarely good for the kids. See, I agree with that. This person here says 100% when my mother and former stepdad sat me down and explained that they were getting a divorce, I was so ridiculously relieved. They weren't awful, but there was always tension in the house, and even at the age of 10, I could tell they were not happy together anymore. They co parented my younger brother beautifully together, and he never abandoned me since he was the only dad I ever felt and any love for. Real dad as a POS. They remained friends until my mom passed, which is actually quite awesome because sometimes you realize that living together, or I'm sorry, sometimes you realize that being married isn't doesn't work, right? But you can still be friends with that person. So I think there's a good way to be an adult in a situation like that, especially when kids are involved. This person says there was a post a while ago written by a husband whose wife either cheated on him or they just no longer got along, but he stayed for the kids until the youngest was 18. When the youngest was 18, he divorced his wife, and his kids were pissed at him for making them realize that their entire lives were a lie. So even if you can tolerate your partner enough to stay for the kids, um, and have a decent relationship, you are not benefiting the kids at all, and you would be much better off divorced and co parenting. I agree with that. This person does say don't disregard the extent of finances in her decision to take him back. Housing is really expensive. Now, that adds an extra layer to it, if you think about it, right? Because, yes, that is tough. That, finances are definitely a thing, especially now more than ever. We're realizing that having a home on your own, especially if you guys have a house, say it's in your name. For instance, like if my wife divorced me, the house was in her name. She bought it before we ended up getting married. So I'd be on my own, but she'd also be left to manage the house, the mortgage, everything else on her own, and that can be tough. So I can understand that. I still don't think it's okay for the kids if you just get together for the finances. I think that's kind of rough. I mean, if you get a divorce, you can probably get some sort of alimony or something in that nature to kind of help alleviate that stress. Now, see, this person's got an interesting take here. It says 100%. It says, he basically said you were taking too long to grieve your mother, so I had an affair with your sister. Wow. Also, take it from someone whose parents stayed for the kids. It is the worst choice ever. It didn't better our lives or make us happy. What it did is give me was a relationship and trust issues and years of therapy. Kids are not stupid. See, I like that right there. That is 100% right. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say not the a-hole for that one just because, not the a-hole, but there are conditions to that, right? So not the a-hole because you don't have to take your sister back, even if you did decide to take your husband back. But I will say you're kind of the a-hole for taking your husband back when he did that whole thing with you. That's just my opinion. Leave your comments. Let me know what you think. Yeah, let's see the next one. This one says, am I the a-hole for tricking my ex-wife during our divorce? Let's see what we got here. My ex-wife, Becca, is 7 years older than me and has retired after 35 years of teaching. We had our kids later in life, and she took 4 years off to stay at home with them. That's actually pretty impressive. I am 58, and my ex decided 10 years ago that I wasn't who she wanted in her life anymore. It was fairly peaceful divorce. Our kids were both in university, and we had that part taken care of. The only real sticking point was our home. I thought we should sell the house and each other use the money to buy something smaller and that we would require much less maintenance. It is a 5-bedroom, 4-bathroom house we bought after we got married. It's a pretty big house. We got it at a very good price, and it has appreciated quite nicely over the last 38 years. I can imagine with the house prices the way they are now. Says Becca wanted to keep the house so the kids could keep their rooms. She had space for our, at that time, non existent grandkids. Okay, I can see the point a little bit. Myself, our kids, our lawyers, everyone told her that it was a bad idea. I gave in and traded away alimony for my share of the house. Ooh, don't know if that was the best idea. Like I said, my kids were in school and neither of them planned on their careers keeping them in our town. My work gives me $250 a day tax free as a living allowance since I work away from home. Rather than stay in a hotel, I've been renting a house in the city where I work. It works out quite well, or it works out well, and since I'm saving on the travel back and forth. I see my kids when they have time. I took extra time off when my first grandchild was born. I can afford to do a lot of stuff I skipped before because I was saving for two people in retirement. Now that is just me doing quite well. Becca is not. She wanted the lifestyle I was funding to continue. She went through her savings and now she just has her pension, which is pretty good, I think, but it isn't enough to pay the property taxes, as well as pay for her trips, maintenance, and stuff. She is having to sell her house where neither kid ever returned to live in after graduation, which I mean, they can't, yeah, that happens, right? She has to travel to see our grandchild since my daughter is just at the beginning of her career and cannot take that much time off. She has been complaining to anyone who will listen that I'm living high on the hog and she's going to be homeless. That isn't true. There will be quite a bit of capital gains tax, but she will have an amount that will let her buy a condo for herself that's affordable. If she wants to keep the house, she could do a reverse mortgage, but I think that's a terrible idea. I think part of it is that I have a girlfriend now who is in her mid 30s and she never found the guy that she thought would be better than me. I think the guy she was seeing after we broke up was supposed to be him, but didn't work out. She is pissed that because of how I get paid, her alimony seems like not a lot compared to owing a house free and clear. I don't think it's my fault she wouldn't listen. Oh, yeah, I don't think you're the a-hole on that one, my guy. I think that you're perfectly fine. I mean, the option was there. You guys presented everything straightforward and said, hey, look, this is a bad idea to keep this house. Let's split it up. Let's do things. And it would have been a lot easier. But she insisted and you caved. So here we are. I still think selling's probably a good idea. But so I'm going to say not the a-hole, but let's see what Reddit has to say, right? Not the a-hole. I don't understand how she thinks you tricked her. I'm sure after that many years of marriage, she understood how you got paid. You need that money for a separate household, so she doesn't get any of it. She was informed by everyone else that she would not keep the big house, but she would not listen. She kept her lifestyle after the divorce, and even though she had much less income, she knew her kids were not planning on moving home. There is nothing here that makes you the bad guy. She has buyer's remorse, and that's not your fault. I agree. I agree. She realized the mistake she made, too little, too late. And yeah, she realized too little, too late. Yeah, that's 100% what it is. And that's not your fault at all. Not the a-hole. She made a bad decision and is mad that you're living out your best. She has no one to blame for her choices other than herself. I agree. Not the a-hole. You didn't trick her. She had two options and she chose poorly. Not your fault she wants to, but cannot change her mind now. Yeah, I agree. This person says, not the a-hole. You offered her alternatives and made it very clear the consequence of each choice, as did the lawyers in your divorce. She is an adult and made what she thought was the best decision, and she was wrong, but she was informed. If anyone tricked her, it was herself, against everyone's advice, and this was years ago. Any consequences are totally her fault. I agree. I agree with that. I think it's pretty clear with this one here. You're not the a-hole. And one more here. Your ex-wife is grousing about the consequences of her own poor financial decision. To me, it looks like she still has a lot of options, just not the ones she wanted. Having a huge house filled with children and grandchildren. Yeah, sell the house. Get it out. Not the a-hole. Frankly, her financial choices and lack of accountability aren't your problem. Right? So you should not be investing any more thought into this situation. Let her complain as much as she wants. Understand that no one with reason believes you're somehow to blame and focus on your life. Yeah, I think you're good here, bud. I think you have nothing to worry about. Yeah, that was a good one. That one's kind of crazy, but yeah, not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. Let's see what else Reddit's got here. Let's see if we can get one more in here. Maybe two. We'll see where we are. Here's another one here. Kind of interesting. Am I the a-hole for completely ignoring Valentine's Day because of our dead bedroom and not entertaining my wife when she expressed that it upset her? Ooh, okay. Gotta be careful. My wife and I are in our early 30s and have a dead bedroom. She lost her libido over the years, and I can positively confirm that this isn't the person I agreed to marry in the first place. I tried to get her help, but she hardly follows through on the suggested course of actions, whether it be in couples therapy or individual ones. I feel like I don't love her anymore, and in my culture, divorce is taboo, so I am essentially stuck in this marriage. I hate how she doesn't even try. She would have all the time in the world to complain about her manager or complain about her weight, but wouldn't do anything about it. Trying to improve intimacy and getting her to do stuff is like beating a dead horse. So I withdrew. It started by stopping texting her. I love you, beautiful, every day when I'm at work, and then I stopped giving her foot rubs and back rubs, stopped making date plans. Then it came to a head when I completely ignored Valentine's Day and didn't get her anything. It was just like any other day to me. She confronted me and was terribly upset about this. I asked her, has she done anything to make me want to love her? Ooh, okay. Why would I be coerced into giving affections I don't want to give? Like, why should I care about what she wants when that care isn't reciprocated? Maybe this is vindictive, but by I am disillusioned by her and disappointed in her for giving up completely on an intimate part of our relationship. We cannot stand each other, and she doesn't acknowledge me. Am I the a-hole? There is an edit here that says, wow, I came here fully expecting to be eviscerated and destroyed in the comments section, but it turns out there are a lot of support, and I appreciate that greatly. Like anyone, I came here and have to sheepishly admit that I thought I'd be argumentative with some people here, and at least I can justify away my a-holeness. If it is there, being right and winning, at least that'll be more cathartic than talking to my wife about a relationship issue. At least I know a lot of you can see how I feel. Gosh, the editing's going to be rough. Um, okay. Okay. See, this is kind of a tough one, right? Because, like, I'm not inclined to say you're the a-hole because it takes two people to run into this situation, right? Um, you don't really talk about, like, what you've done to try to figure out why the libido is gone, why there's no more love there or no desire for an intimate relationship. You do kind of mention that she complains about her boss. You do also mention that she complains about her weight, which I mean, one thing, like if this were a situation where my wife and I were in a conversation about this, and she's complaining. And mind you, I don't know how many times you had this conversation. I don't know if you've had this conversation or how it went down or how many times you gave this answer, but I would encourage that person to try to do something to better everything. And if that doesn't work, like maybe plan stuff and then just like show up on things like, hey, Saturday we're going to go take a little hike around the park and check out the leaves. Like, I live in the Midwest. So, like in the fall, leaves turn colors. Spring, we got flowers and mud. Sometimes extra snow on top of all that, but that's neither here nor there. So, staying with her because of your culture, that's a tough one, right? Because, like, I'm not sure where you live. And I understand that divorce in some cultures is no, you just deal with it. I feel like that can cause a lot more resentment. But then again, I can also understand not wanting to put in any effort. Like if you've already put in effort and it's not reciprocated and the person does not agree or does not even try to acknowledge or accept or be okay with what you've done, then yeah, I can understand that being a problem. I'm going to say not the a-hole. You did mention in here that you've been to couples therapy. Yeah, I tried to get her help, but she hardly follows through on the suggested course of actions, whether it be in couples therapy or individual ones. See, it sounds to me like you've been trying everything that you can do. No one likes to watch their relationship fall apart, you know? I mean, when someone quits in a relationship, that's tough for the other person that just has a hard time accepting it. Sounds like you've finally accepted it, and sometimes people need a harsh dose. And if that means that you shut down this illusion that there's still something going on between you two by not doing anything for Valentine's Day, then maybe that's what it took. And you know what? Yeah, not the a-hole. I'm gonna agree with the comments on this one, not the a-hole. But let's see what some of the comments say here. Let's see what some of the people say. This person has an interesting take. It says, not the a-hole, but the a-hole to yourself. You're going to be a miserable for the rest of your life because the divorce is taboo. Nah, man. Don't throw your life away. Be brave and let each other go. I agree with that. I mean, it sucks. I get it. And like you're fighting against cultural norms and stuff like that, but you have to do what's best for you in the end. And if that means that you got to let her go, you got to let her go. You're potentially missing out on a much better part of life by just staying here. So yeah, let's check a few more comments. This guy says, dude, I'd rather leave my country than stay for a life in an unhappy relationship. You only get one life. If you aren't happy, you owe it to yourself to leave. Figure it out. She likely won't change if she hasn't. Could it be, and I'm just spitballing here, maybe the individual or maybe your wife understands that you won't leave, knows the cultural situations, and knows that she's locked in. You know, yeah, she can give you a hard time for this, but she doesn't have to follow through because you're not going to do anything about it because you're not going to leave because of the way it looks. I'm telling you, man, it's 2024. You know, it's time to kick away some of those things and just kind of, I know it sucks. You might lose some friends and family, but if your friends and family don't support you based on you needing to be happy for yourself, then they're not really your friends, and family can be chosen, and you don't always have to do things for blood. Remember that. This person says, not the a-hole, and taboo or not, do you want to spend the rest of your life miserable because of a cultural taboo? Till death do us part sounds like a person you married died already. Yeah, you know, I could agree with that a little bit here. The follow up to that is, yeah, early 30s is perfect time to make a new start and build a life you want. Don't let cultural pressure get in the way of your happiness. I would agree. And now it's easy for me as a white American to say that, you know, ignore cultural preferences. I understand that it's not always that easy, but depending on where you are. But like I said earlier, you know, if your friends and family truly do care about you, they'll understand. And if they don't, then you can do just fine without them. And sucks, and it's rough, and you'll probably miss them, but you'll do fine. So move forward, man. Move forward. This person has an interesting take. This person's not saying you're the a-hole, but is saying you're the a-hole. Flip switch, right? Yes, it says you're the a-hole if you stay in this marriage when you clearly can't stand her. Let both of yourselves be free. Let's see if we can find one more here. Let's see if we got one more. All right, yeah, here's one for us. It might be a good one here. Let's go ahead and see. Okay, this one says, am I the a-hole for getting upset that my husband is texting my sister? That we already read one of those earlier. But let's see what this one's got, huh? I, female 33, caught my husband, male 30, texting my sister behind my back, even though 2 months ago I told him that I do not feel comfortable with him doing so. I mean, that's a clear boundary. My sister and I have been in a toxic relationship as sisters as long as I can remember. She not only talks crap behind my back, but she also talks crap about my children. Oh, it's messed up. Everything that I had, she wanted. Everything that I had that she couldn't have. She would find ways to destroy it. Oh, that's fun. I have lost friendships because of her. I have lost credibility because of her. And I feel as if I'm about to lose my husband and my family we have built together because of her. I've been married to my husband for 6 years now, and we both have 2 children. We've known each other for 10 years. She herself got herself pregnant 2 years ago and is now raising a child by herself since the baby's father doesn't want to have anything to do with her. I have helped her as much as possible with money and accommodations, and when something just didn't go right for her because I didn't have it, she would instantly not talk to me for weeks. Now that she has blocked me everywhere on social media, she is now continuing to text my husband behind my back, and my husband has entertained it. That's not okay. This morning I caught them texting, and I literally asked him why he was texting her, And if he did not respect my wishes on not texting anymore, and he does not understand why, and he's getting upset and threatening to kick me out of the house, wow, and divorce me, and that he has had enough of me getting upset over stupid crap. Ooh, okay. I feel alone more than ever because once again, my sister has basically almost ruined my marriage, and I'm beyond terrified because things between me and my husband were fine. We haven't had a fight in over 6 months, and we were working hard to get new car and house after we'd fallen hard. He takes her side because she apparently was the reason why he stayed here for me in the first place. What? He takes her side because she apparently was the reason why he stayed here for me in the first place because we had a big fight over 6 months ago, and ever since then, she is now his friend, even though multiple times friends and family have said that my sister didn't mean well. He refuses to see the truth and constantly says that I am at fault. Interesting. My mother and father told him that his actions were very hurtful and disrespectful, and we have a good relationship with our parents slash in-laws. Am I the a-hole? I'm literally crying uncontrollably and suffering extreme stomach aches because of this. My parents, luckily, took the kids for the day. Oh, that is tough, right? Well, I say that, but thinking back, it's not tough. No, you are not the a-hole. Somewhere down the line, your sister's got her hooks in on your husband. And if he is not respecting your boundaries that you have specified because of past experiences with your sister and continuing to text her regardless of what you say, then you are not the a-hole. That man needs to be kicked to the curb. I understand that that can be tough, but this isn't going to change. He's going to continue to be this person. And that's a dangerous spot to be in. This person is very clearly taking your sister's side. I would even question, like, has something already happened between them? I mean, it sounds to me like he's fully prepared to kick you to the curb and go live with her. So I think, yeah, you're not the a-hole. But let's check the comments and see what they say. First comment: not the a-hole. He is not understanding what he is doing in his betrayal. If your sister is manipulating him, how secure was your relationship in the first place? That's kind of a tough one, right? Because manipulation can easily weasel its way in. Even some of the strongest people can get manipulated. You have every right to be upset. Sounds like he is developing feelings for her based on his overreaction to your request. I would agree. I honestly would think that something's already happened in there and that you should be paying a little closer attention to where he spends his time. He is gaslighting you, and I'm so sorry this is happening. I also would agree with that too. I feel that he is, in fact, gaslighting you. So the OP replies to that, yeah, I deep down hope not. I'm honestly confused and terrified. It's just so funny because on the same spectrum, he said I'm not allowed to meet or talk to a friend, male, that I've had since I was 14. Okay. That's a tough one right there, right? Like right there, that tells me, like you saying that tells me that, yeah, geez, this isn't good. It's time for you to go ahead and cut and run. Move on about it. Move on about it because this isn't safe. Not for you, not for them. This person's already made their mind up and you are not a part of that. These two comments here, they kind of are on the same line I am, right? He wants to divorce you over texting your sister. There's 100% an affair going on, be it emotional affair or physical affair. He is definitely cheating. Yeah, a lot of people seem to think that cheating is just some sort of physical interaction between two individuals of a sexual nature. But there's different levels of cheating too. Like if I say I were talking to a friend of mine and we were sending flirtatious text messages back and forth, but nothing ever actually happened between us, but there was still that intent through those conversations, that can technically be considered a form of cheating. And I would have some music to face in that situation. So yeah, these are not wrong. Yeah, this person says, find an attorney with M and get a divorce. Your sister already has her clause in him. He's already proven it. Then give him the divorce papers. He also cannot kick you out of the house y'all have together because y'all are married, but double check with a lawyer. And I bet once you give the divorce papers, he will either admit to wanting her or freak out and try to change your mind. But just ignore him and keep it moving for your kids. Also, go no contact with your sister forever. 100%. Yeah. So I don't know the rules, laws based on where you are, but you may want to check with it. Getting a lawyer at this point, or at least having a lawyer look into things, is probably not a bad idea. Even if you don't intend to actually go through with it, having them look at a divorce attorney You can find out what options you do have. But yeah, you got to start acting now. At this point, decisions been made. Things are there. So yeah, I think on that last one, definitely not the a-hole for that. I think that, yeah, there's already something going on between your husband and your sister, and you need to go ahead and get that sorted out. And by sorted out, I mean cut them both to the curb, go no contact. Your kids will be better off in the long run because of it, because they don't need that kind of example. So, anyway, that's going to be it for me with this episode. I hope you, or this video. Hope you like it. Tell me if you like this new format, if you like these things, if you want me to check out other Reddit stuff as opposed to just Am I the A-hole, definitely let me know. But make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.